Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook. Hello, you beautiful beauty pro you, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I was joined by the amazing Rider from Solo. He's the CEO of Solo, and we had a really good chat all around how Solo actually came about. We had to talk about the vision for Solo and how they help the solo beauty entrepreneur. And we had a really good chat about how you can implement some of their amazing features into your business so that you can get fully booked, gain better clientele and treat your business like a business so that you can back yourself and get comfortable charging higher prices as well. Not only that, but we did some bonus questions into the private community on Facebook. So if you're not in there after you've listened to this episode, go to the links in the description and get yourself into the private community on Facebook so that you can listen to those bonus questions. But for now, I hope you enjoy this episode. So, Ryder, can you share with us who you are and how your work on Solo came about, please?
Sure. So my name is Rider Latham. I'm CEO and co-founder of Solo. And really, the story starts with our first business in the industry, which is called Secret Spa. So for those who don't know it, it's the UK's largest platform for booking at home. So that's mobile professionals to come to people's homes across London, Manchester and Brighton. Kicked off in 2017. You know, I was working in the city in London at the time. I knew very little about the industry, but I had a hunch that there was going to be an Uber for some industry being built. And it was my sister Emily who rightly pointed to beauty and then later wellness as a place that we could start the business. So lots of trials and tribulations, but over 7 years we built it to the biggest platform in the UK. And I started getting an itch as we came out of the pandemic. I started to think, Secret Spa is fantastic. It's got 600 elite professionals on it. It's got an incredible clientele, Suki Waterhouse, Amanda Holden.
Wow.
But spent millions of pounds building this technology platform. And couldn't it be used by a lot more people? And we'd started to experiment with allowing the professional Secret Spa to build some of their private business on it. And the more we spoke to them, the more excited they got. And I think what it came down to was the insight that a marketplace is nice, right, to top up your income. But when you really ask people what they're looking to achieve, they want to be a standalone entrepreneur in their own right. That's the dream. And it was that realization that made us realize that, hey, we've got to focus more of our attention on allowing this platform to be used by as many people as possible. And let's just have that mission of empowering individual professionals as entrepreneurs. And that's going to have a marketplace component to it, but it can have so much more to it. And really it was that 7 years in, you know, has led us to focus lots of attention on building out Solo, you know, clues in the name, as a way to empower independent entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I love that. 7 years is nothing, first of all, really. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right now, Secret Spa is still a thing, isn't it? Still serving, you know, people in their homes. Yeah, perfect.
It's never been better.
Yeah, amazing. And with Solo, what's the vision with it now, and how does it help the actual pro?
Yeah, sure. So we come back to this sense of mission, right? how do you empower a self-employed professional to build their dream business? And the key there is their dream business. So we're not fussy with solo, whether it's helping someone who's part-time who wants to make some money on the side, or if someone who's got a small salon. Really, what this comes down to, right, is just a passion, my passion and the team's passion for entrepreneurship and its ability to transform lives. So, that is effectively what we sit in the office and we think about. How can we empower entrepreneurs? That and really, like, this is something that I feel, right. I'm an entrepreneur who builds software platforms, but to be honest, trials and tribulations aren't that different to if you've got you just set up a cabin in your back garden and you're offering nails. So really we ask that question, like, how can we empower entrepreneurs? So there's a big software component to it, right? So the app, it's a booking system, it's a set of marketing tools, emails, loyalty schemes, but it's build a website on your phone, and it's an ability to take payments. And those are kind of broadly the features that we give to pros. And then we also do some stuff that's unique in the industry. So we allow you to connect your business to not one marketplace, but multiple marketplaces. So, yes, you can connect Solo to Secret Spa if you're eligible, you're in the right area. But we've also done a bunch of partnerships with people like Biosculpture, Nuvo, Sienna X, in order to allow you to connect your business to marketplaces that we've built them that live on their websites. So, it really is trying to be, I suppose, the last piece of software that an independent professional would ever need to use in order to build their business. And it's everything from listing your business on multiple websites to find new clients through to saving a ton of time with a booking system really tailored to independent professionals. So I think broadly the vision, right, is to just continuing to kind of focus on what independent entrepreneurs need. And I know we started to do a lot more work on, you can build this incredible toolkit for professionals, but actually, some of these tools are quite complex to use. Like, how do you set up a loyalty scheme that makes sense? How do you set up email broadcasts that are automated and drive client retention? So we're spending a lot more time on education and actually teaching people how to use these tools in order to build, their best possible version of their business. So education there, we'd love to go into more. And then the other thing is we're spending a lot of time on community. So, we think the ultimate experience for an independent entrepreneur is an amazing piece of software, some great education materials, and then a community to be part of. So that's something we're also really excited about. So we're putting on events across London this year and hopefully in Manchester as well to begin with. We've got this really active WhatsApp community. And really, this is about us stepping back and saying, meet other people in a similar position to you and learn about their business. And frankly, like, if you're working independent, it's lonely, right? So we want people to feel independent, but not alone.
Yeah, I feel like that because I'm 12 years in now and still alone. The only time that I did anything with a team was when I was in salon, and that was only a couple of years. But even then, you still feel, if you're self-employed, even in a salon, sometimes running your business as the business, even inside someone else's premises, is still really lonely sometimes. So I really love that you're doing that to bring everything together. And the community for me is such a huge thing. And also what really stands out to me is the fact that this platform can now connect the solo person with these marketplaces as well. I was really intrigued by that because I suppose you've obviously created these relationships via having Secret Spa as a business, and those brands wanting you to go, right, well, we would like a platform where people can find us as a brand, and then if there's therapists that use us, that then we can find the people who want our brand through those therapists. And now Solo can do that for people as well, and I really like that.
It's it's something we're proud of, and we're just still getting started at that, and we're chatting some really brands that I can't say right now about adding more marketplaces. But to tell you a story, we have Nicola, who she was a Secret Spa pro working in Southeast London. Now, when we set up Solo, she was able to then set up her private business on the app, and now she has one diary and she's taking bookings via Secret Spa and her private clients at the same time. And then we launched on Sienna X and built their marketplace. And now she's receiving bookings from Secret Spa, her private clients, and via the Sienna X marketplace. And they're then becoming her private clients. And then we launched $1 million facial, and she happens to be trading that brand. So suddenly she's got one diary and she's got four income sources. And she's
Mm.
like, I've never been busier. I've been able to increase my prices. I have a really tough cancellation policy because I have a wait. She's going to be, Ryder, when are you going to build a wait list? Because that's what I need now.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing, right? And she, you know what she says? Like, this, as like, again, an entrepreneur with small children myself,
Mm.
trying to balance it all. She says the most amazing thing about this is I work when I want. I get to spend more time with my kids. When I'm with my kids, I'm not looking at my phone, checking DMs. Does that client want to move the booking by 50 minutes? I'm with them. I'm present. I'm making more money than ever,
Mm.
and I'm doing it on my own terms. And really, that's what it comes down to. So that's what we're aiming towards for as many people as possible.
Mm.
And look, we love this industry. We know I was a tourist into it initially. I've ended up spending, 7 years of my life in it. I'm probably going to end up spending another seven at the very least. So
Mm.
I think, yeah, we're pretty passionate about helping independent entrepreneurs in this industry. And what we would say, like they definitely feel it's like it's an overlooked. It's crazy that the majority of people are self-employed.
Mm.
This is the thing that kind of blow our minds. There's over 200,000 people who are self-employed in the UK. It's
Mm.
over 70% of the industry, and yet no one's ever built a piece of software specifically for them. It's
Mm.
always been built. You name the big brands, right? It's primarily for someone managing a salon, often managing a salon with employed professionals
Mm.
underneath them.
Mhm.
And it just struck us as crazy and at times like kind of unjust that
Yeah.
no one had focused on independent professionals. So
Mm.
that's the other aspect that we do feel a little we do like to think we're the good guys anyway. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, I think you are good guys, honestly. After all of my dealings with you guys, I do really think you are the good guys. And I like what you're doing. I love what you do. The thing is as well with platforms that, like you said, you name the big names and all the rest of it. I've been there, I've used platforms, I've spoken to different pros who've used different platforms. And like you say, there wasn't really anything that was specifically for the solo pro.
Mm.
But also with what you're doing is just bringing so much of the things that we need into one place. And I just think, in my way of thinking about it all, is you're encouraging somebody like myself who started out as mobile to treat their business like a business from that get go. And because, like
Yeah.
you say, there's so many people in this industry that are self-employed, that are doing this on their own, that probably aren't treating it like a business, right? And that's a downfall. It's a different side of the coin in this industry, as there's so many people out there doing it as a hobby. There are so many people out there that just do it for a thing on the side and a little bit of extra money. But I love that you're trying to do this, because what it does is it really uplifts the whole industry and allows people that do want to treat it like a business and do want to earn a living from it to charge those higher prices and to really get involved with the communities like you're building, to make them realize that this is possible. And that's, for some people, they don't realize that it is possible,
You're completely right. This is a confidence game, and we want to provide the tools that are so good that it drives a mindset shift, right?
Mm.
It gets people to stop thinking that they're freelance and start thinking they're an independent entrepreneur. And
Mm.
those are the same employment statuses, but it's a different way of thinking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where having a professional website, having very clear policies, having a loyalty scheme, having automated email campaigns.
Mm.
You can take someone who, let's be honest, it costs a lot of money if you want to have all those tools from different providers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to make it as easy as possible and as much help people just back themselves. And look, I think it's not easy. That feeling of starting out. I felt it with multiple businesses. Like it's that early phase, like it's such a confidence game, and you have doubts, and you wake up in the middle of the night thinking, "Is this worth it? Is this going to work?"
Mm-hmm.
And the more we can help people with not feeling like that, the better.
Mm. Where does the entrepreneurial spirit in you come from?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, my dad, he's always had his own business.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know. I think probably from I was a small kid, I probably had that. Um, I probably was normally looking for different schemes in order to do things, whether or not it was selling Pokemon cards or, at one stage as a teenager, I used to sell suits from Shanghai. I kind of, yeah, I've tried my hand at lots of things and I've failed a ton, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I failed more times than I've been successful.
Mm,
So yeah, I really, it's a good question whether or not it came from, probably my dad or
mm,
if it was something that was there. But yeah, it's a journey filled with lots of accidents and lots of failures and
mm.
um,
I love it. It's so good to just hear from you, like, because everyone else is going to think, well, the CEO of Solo, right? He must be this perfect guy. So it's nice to know, like, you have failed. And I think everybody does, don't they? Let's bring it back to the beauty industry quickly.
yes,
What I
yeah,
wanted to ask you is, when it comes to the app, because I'm super intrigued to give all the listeners all the info on the app as well. I really love my policies, having those in place for, all beauty pros that I help. The first thing we do is strip back their business, get their boundaries in place, sort out some policies and make sure they're treating their business properly like a business. So, how does Solo support the pro in enforcing their policies? Let's talk about that.
yes, yeah. So we built a couple features which are really, really useful. The first is simple, but just allowing you to display your T's and C's on your website in a clear way. We
Mm,
provide templates, we provide suggested policies, so that you're not there like worrying about having to write lots of legal language
mm,
and just stating that front and center, and then having a tick box in the kind of booking experience for your client to say, yeah, I agree with these.
mm-hmm.
And you know what? It might seem like, oh, I'm creating an extra step or this seems too much, but actually, it's super professional. People love that, right?
Yeah.
People someone's booking the first time, they think, well, this person's legit, right? So we think that's a really simple but powerful feature. And then we launched last month card capture.
Mm,
So what this allows you to do is to take a customer's card details, hold them, but not charge the card up front. And then you can hold them back so that when it comes to the booking, okay, like maybe the customer's paying cash, that's fine. You just cancel the hold on the card. But if they cancel, okay, then you can charge the card.
mm-hmm.
So you don't have that sting which some customers experience about paying up front. It really depends where you are in the country, around if people are willing to pay up front,
Mm-hmm.
but you can get rid of that concern that customers will have about paying you, 50, 100 quid for a booking that might be happening in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have the protection of having their card details, a little bit like some restaurant reservations nowadays, where you
Yeah.
can charge it if someone cancels on the day, depending on your policy. And obviously you can choose, right, depending on your policy. For
Mm,
some people, 24 hours notice is fine. For other businesses, that's completely out of order for a customer because you could have turned away other business. So we
mm.
give you the flexibility to pick whichever works for your business.
It's really good that you've got that, because I always say it's so much more difficult, and I see it all day long, people complaining on social media specifically, or in groups about, someone's just cancelled last minute, I'm out of pocket this week by X amount, and they need to pay a cancellation fee, and they won't pay it, or they have, and I'm just like, why are we going to chase this? Like, we need a deposit. And like you said about the card capture, you can either charge up front or you can, just charge if they've cancelled. I highly recommend anybody listening to this to take a deposit of at least 50%, because then you're not chasing the fee. And then they, even if you try to charge a card sometimes,
Mm.
they may not have fees available in that
Yeah.
account, right? And some people, I know it sounds really bad, and you'll get far less of this if you treat your business like a business anyway from the offset. Like, from having that tick box that you've mentioned, it deters so many of the clients that are flaky, that are maybe a little bit not so sure if they're going to have this treatment anyway, and all the rest of it. So you can kind of future-proof your business anyway, but please take deposits.
Yes.
In my
Yeah.
opinion, take a deposit.
Great. It's great advice. I mean, I think we see probably, I mean, we just launched card capture. So what you can do is, so right, you can choose what works for you. So
Mm,
if you want to take a £5 deposit, you can do that. If you want to take a 50% deposit, you can do that. If you want to take the full payment up front, you can do that.
mm,
If you want to take you can set rules for new clients versus repeat clients. That's another thing. We want to give people as much control as possible to do what works for their business. And that's really popular, having slightly more stringent, stronger rules for your new clients.
Mm.
Well, if you've got somebody who's been booking with you for years and you trust them, maybe that's fine. So yeah, we've tried to build a system so you can pick what works for you. And yeah, taking some form of deposit is by far the most popular option. Taking no deposit, as you said, it's a big risk on your part.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm glad that you just touched on repeat clients, because obviously in this business, we need people to come back. That is what our business is all about, happy returning clients. So when it comes to retention and loyalty, and you've touched on it a little bit, how does Solo help the pro with building up those relationships and getting that retention?
Yes, yeah. I think the thing to just say up front is, there's two aspects to your experience. There's the in-treatment experience, which is obviously the most important part fundamentally. And, there's only so much Solo can do there. But then there's the digital experience and everything around the actual treatment, where we built a lot of stuff to help. So I think first and foremost, having a booking website where people can see your live availability, it's really, really powerful. Like, customers like that sense of control. The whole DM to book thing. Yeah, you're going to have some clients who do want to do it, but ultimately it's quite time consuming. You're going back and forth with someone. Clients tend to not love it. It's a nightmare for you. So having a seamless booking experience is really powerful. In a way, the best thing for retention is to have a great first impression. So having a lookbook, having reviews, as we said, having professional T's and C's, having professional payment process, all this stuff, right? Building your brand and a perception of your business in the customer's head. And that's the power of having a website. We've just launched some cool stuff at the beginning of this year, which also helps. So we have automated email and SMS, and you can really control the rules there. So you can say, if a customer hasn't booked in 30 days, you can define that time period, send them a reminder email, send them a text message with a promo code in it. And you can set these things up, right? And we can provide advice on how to do it if you're wondering. And then they just run in the background, right? It is literally growing your business as you sleep. And every now and then you might want to change the promo code amount, or you might want to swap a promo code for just a reminder email. But it's so, so powerful, right? It gives you superpowers, having these emails being sent out at the perfect moment for each customer. And you can set those thresholds. So, you can do stuff. You can take customers' birthdays down when they make a booking, and then it can send them a message on their birthday. Again, the system does all of that. So you highly recommend that you experiment with that if you're using Solo. And then we've also built out aftercare sections. So, if you offer multiple types of treatments, an email goes to the customer, an SMS can go to the customer saying, check out my aftercare advice on spray tanning. Or if they only book nails, check out my aftercare advice on nails. And you can build that out. Again, we try and provide templates so that you're not sitting there in front of like a blank screen going, what should I write? And then the final thing I'm super excited about, which I was literally testing before this call, is a loyalty scheme. Yeah. So what you can do is you can say, at X number, so at a certain amount of spend or a certain number of bookings, you can choose send a customer a message, with a promo code, with a free booking or whatever it might be. And you can do that. You can do that by treatment, so you can have that control. You can choose to send them a message when they get to 50% of that target, when they get to 90%. So you've got all these controls in order to set up a loyalty scheme. And it's a similar thing, right? It just runs in the background once you set it up, and you can control the incentives. But just having that, really takes you, again, from, if you were running your business on Instagram or via WhatsApp, it just dramatically changes the customer experience.
Yeah. Not only is it admin time, right, for me as a beauty pro, but it's just the headache of, looking at DMs. It's the headache. And like you said, it's the client as well, right? I believe that every client I've ever seen prefers the efficiency and the convenience of being able to manage their own bookings, have a little look at what's going on. And what you're doing there with the loyalty programs and the emails and the texts and all the rest of it is you're basically taking a part of the pro's job, which is super hard anyway, because we're on our own self-employed, is the nurturing stage of the journey for that client. And it's so important that people do it, and they often miss it. And that's why their businesses aren't quite as successful, because they don't nurture their clients. Because why? They don't have the bloody time, because they're
Yeah.
so busy with clients, and then they're so busy trying to look after their kids, or even just being a good person and friend and family member to their family, and spend some time with people, that they can't be head down all the time doing things like that. And so you're taking that stress away, which I really love. And just a quick question on that. Say I was, going to be doing the incentives, like you said, about the points and all the rest of it. So you said that the pro has the control over the incentive. So if they don't want it to be money off, for example, because that person's probably coming back anyway at that point, that can be something like an add-on, or it could be something like just an upgraded luxury, or we can do that.
It's a great idea. So I'm trying to think actually, I think you can give discounts of certain treatments. So you can
Mm.
pick the treatments where the discount applies. So
Hmm.
yeah, you could in theory create an add-on category for treatments and say there's a kind of 100% discount applied for that. Maybe it's a nail treatment and you only get a hand massage for free, or whatever it might be at the end. So
Mm.
there are ways in the system, it's pretty flexible to do that.
Mm.
And I would say with all pros that you want to experiment with this. Like,
Absolutely,
it's a
yeah.
good point. It's a good point that you don't always need to discount.
Mm.
You don't want people to get addicted to discounts. We've seen this particularly with Secret Spa, that side of the business, that you suddenly get customers who get addicted to discounts, and it's not a great place for your business. But look, that's where you can have the control to say, you know what, I'm actually like not going to offer an incentive. I'm going to use the automated email and SMS just to send reminders,
Yeah.
and that's make enough for my business. But ultimately, like, customers do really appreciate it. I
Mm.
think on balance, I'd probably recommend giving customers something
Mm.
every time you hit it for a 10th booking. You just need to make sure that you're not giving away too much.
Mm.
You don't like 100% discount codes are complex, right? What happens if someone books 300 quid of treatments that you probably don't, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we're
But
not
a
doing that.
fiver or even a free smaller treatment, I would argue it's better
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, think of the word of mouth that can generate for your
Mm.
business.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
Yeah, and I often say to people, excuse me, I often say to people as well, be aggressive if you need to be, right? Because the reason I posed the question was because I would want to have that flexibility. I would want to be able to get creative with it and do what I want to do with it. Because I'm an established business. But for people that aren't quite established yet, they need clients, they need more bums on seats. Why not
Yeah.
be aggressive? I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say like don't be in profit at all with this service or whatever. But sometimes to build your clientele is well worth being aggressive, as long as you're attracting the right ideal clients in the first place. Because if your language is correct and your marketing is correct in the first place, the people coming through are probably going to then stick around and stay, but you need to entice them in somehow, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't forget the power of having punchy prices. You know,
Absolutely.
people are scared of doing it, but it creates a really powerful perception around your business when you do it.
Mm.
And it's so counterintuitive. You're like, no, it's gonna put people off, but actually, it actually turns a lot of people on seeing stuff that's reassuringly expensive. So
Mm.
it depends on the business, but I think I'm sure you see it in your coaching that people tend to underprice themselves, particularly at the beginning.
Mm. Yeah, and I say, if you're listening to this as a brand new beauty therapist or whatever, if you just do nails or lashes or tanning or whatever, I feel like if you're qualified, you charge the correct amount, right? We need to be in profit. We're in business. If we're not making money, we're not in business. So yeah, I agree with you there. They come out and they often undercharge themselves, and then they really, really struggle to creep it back up to where they want to be. I did that, it took me 4 years of being mobile to realize I was like, what am I doing here? I'm not making any money. So there's so many of them out there doing it right now. And actually, like you said, treating your business like a business straight away, having those policies, having higher prices, first of all, it attracts people with money. And that's what we want, because we need returning clients. We don't want people with disposable income 1 month and nothing the next. So yeah, we need to get our prices in line. I think as an industry, we need to shift, because
Yeah.
it's like a stigma around it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I get it. Like we have these conversations the whole time with like Secret Spa and how we do that side of the business. So there's always that sense that, hey, if I just price it a bit lower, I'm going to get way more bookings.
Mm.
But in my experience, like it rarely works like that.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And from my experience too, in the business and from my experience coaching, people often say they earn way more money. They see they're busier than they've ever been, and it's because people have respect for their business. Like you said, it gives them that. It's almost an attractive thing, isn't it? It's like exclusivity,
Mm.
because something's that slightly more premium price.
And guess what? That customer's card isn't going to fail, right? When you try and take the rest of the payment, So I think
Exactly.
the admin time of yeah, that clients can take up, particularly difficult clients, it's
Yeah.
something to think about. There are no hard and fast rules on this. Would be my view. We see huge discrepancies depending on whether people live in cities or they live outside of cities, and where they are in the country.
Mm.
I think um I think I'd probably suggest, like, it's worth being a bit more punchy, right? Always like starting from because it's better to start there and then realize it's not working than to start in the other place when you're addicted to I suppose, the bookings coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge issue in the industry. There's no two ways about it, particularly in this inflationary environment. Um, Everyone's seeing all their costs going up. So yeah, it's a big issue. And like, don't be a hero on this. And by that, like, inflation's going up, what, 8% a year,
Mm.
for major different consumer categories. Back yourself, right? People are asking for pay rises at work a lot more frequently. Your customers can pay. So
Mhm.
don't be scared in this inflation environment of
Mm.
raising prices either.
Yeah, I think everybody that's in listening to this, if they've been in my world for a while, they're used to this type of talk, and they know that they need to back themselves and not be the affordable hero, is what I call it. Because,
Yes.
you're in business, you need to make a living as well. And trust me, like you said, a lot of them are asking for pay rises. They can normally pay it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could digress on price for a really long time. So
Yes. Yeah.
what I wanted to ask you as well is, just moving on slightly, what is like the biggest challenge that you guys at Solo are seeing, as a company, and how are you striving to overcome that?
So I think the classic thing with still a relatively early stage business like
Mm.
ours is just like, you have limited time, you have limited capital, you have limited money, right? So where do you allocate that?
Mhm.
And the hardest thing, right, is we're a team in London, really really actually diverse group of people. We have some of the people who work in the office actually use Solo to run their business on the side. But ultimately, like, when it comes to what feature should we build next,
Mm.
the biggest challenge is making sure we make that right call, or what marketing strategy we want to try next, or should we focus on education, or should we focus on community?
Mm.
And I think that just remains the ever-present issue. One of the big questions we've got at the moment is, when are we going to start building features for salons? So right
Mm.
now, Solo works great if you're an individual, and we built some features where you can work collectively, and we have lots of salons that are using us, but it's all freelancers with their own individual business just in the same location.
Mm.
The big question we've got is, when do we move into building features for salons?
Mhm.
Because that's a whole new type of customer. So yeah, that's one of the kind of exciting but challenging questions.
Yeah.
And really, to bring it all together, like, I've learned over the years that normally my first idea on what to do is wrong, and therefore this isn't about the strength of, like, riders' ideas on what to do. This is to do with the strength, or how good we are at listening to the industry. And
Mm.
that's why, like, we're super passionate about chatting to customers as much as possible. We have like an open ideas board on Solo that, when you download the app, you can vote on stuff, you can see what's trending and what people want to see built next.
Mm.
So as much as possible, we just try to obsessively listen to our customers, and again, see the nuances, right, in the customers. Someone who's moving their business from WhatsApp has a very different set of needs versus someone who's sick of overpaying for salon software and
Mm.
getting charged loads of hidden fees. They have very different requirements, so you have to be very nuanced in terms of, you need to think really deeply around who you're building for. But
Yeah.
yeah, broadly speaking, it's like, are we allocating our time and our budgets in the right place? And that's why we're just obsessive about letting our customers guide us,
Mm.
and building it around their needs rather than me sitting on a whiteboard and going, oh, wouldn't this be cool if we did this or that? Because it's going to be wrong.
I love that. Do you know what as well that I take from it for the pros listening? Is the fact that in their business they should be doing that too, right? They should be listening to their clients. They should be taking the feedback. They should be then pivoting and innovating with that in mind. What is it that their ideal clients really want? Um, so I love it. I love that you've shared that. Thank you.
I think it's such a good point, actually, that it's yeah, getting feedback from clients is tough, right? This
Mm,
can be awkward, particularly in this industry, right, where lots of these things are like it's whether something is good is quite up to someone's opinion. Often it's a booking for a really important moment in someone's life. We see that a lot. So
mm.
getting feedback can be intimidating and scary. And lots of customers sometimes are awkward about giving it as well.
Yeah.
We all know that feeling, right? When you sat there in a barber or a salon and you've gone, oh my God, I'm not too sure I like what they're doing, and then you kind of the cat gets your tongue and you don't know what to say. I'm like, and you're too nervous sending, and then you just walk out and you're like, oh, I wish I'd said something.
Mm,
And like clients are like that as well. So we do build in like reviews that can be submitted anonymously that send out to your clients in Solo, so you can get, if they're not comfortable sharing it, you might get some anonymous feedback. But as you said, I think it's a really important thing people can do
mm,
to improve. And as you said, if it's all about getting to those like higher price points with
mm,
customers, you know, make sure you can justify that and you can get that retention at those higher prices. Feedback's going to be a really important way that you can improve.
Yeah, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. Literally, you want to get to those high prices, and that's just such a key element of doing it. I love that you're doing the anonymous things for people to be able to do that on the system, because that's probably something that, to be honest, I don't think I've ever told any of my coaching clients to do that, like try and have an anonymous section of it. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Perfect.
look, if someone is working in a small town or a small village, everyone knows each other. Okay, maybe it can be a bit complicated, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's much possible to find ways to get feedback. Highly
yeah.
recommend. It's how we run our business, and I think it's how most businesses can get a huge amount from that approach.
Well, now we know that obviously Ryder's ideas aren't always the greatest, but we know that he's definitely got a good head on his shoulders. Um, can you tell us? I always ask everyone this, by the way, but could you tell us, because I like to lighten people's moods and days, just in case they might be having a crappy day today. Is there anything funny or embarrassing that you've done in your career that you can tell us today?
Oh, like the list is long. I'll start. We start my most recent, which is, um, we're backed by some fairly big investors, right?
Mm,
And in the way that they're my boss, and one of them reached out who has put a huge amount of money into the business over the years and said, I've got a new fiance. I'd love it if you and your wife could come around for dinner. And I was there going, oh God, I've never really done anything in a personal context with this guy. This guy sits on a board. He literally is like one of my bosses. And I was quite nervous about it. And he's like, no, I'd love you to come around. So me and my wife would get a babysitter. It's a Friday night. I like prep her. I'm a bit nervous. She's like, it's going to be fine. Go to some pretty swanky place in the center of town where his flat is. Ring the doorbell and hey, it's Ryder, we're here, kind of thing. And I hear this, oh, we were expecting you tomorrow on Saturday night. And we turned up a day early. And my wife just
Oh
looked at me.
God.
And it's like, it's a classic thing, right? I'm a disaster in my personal life. I've never dreamed of that professionally. But the moment it went to WhatsApp, it's like, it just broke down basically in terms of my organizational skills. So,
I love
yeah.
it.
Anyway, it actually was an amazing evening. He was super cool about it. They just ordered a load of takeaway, and we actually had an amazing evening. But
Oh,
God, yeah, I couldn't talk for like the first half an hour because I was like, oh, I've lost all credibility with this guy. So
I
I
love
think
it.
that's definitely the most recent. I think, I mean, I think going back to like the early days of Secret Spa, again, I was like completely new to the industry, doing a lot of the customer service. So me and my sister set up the business, and you know, we'd have to do the customer service on the weekends,
Mm,
and me not really knowing my treatments that well, and often, frankly, in my mid-20s, probably being a bit hungover on a Saturday or Sunday morning. I used to get these requests in over the phone. I remember one time I slightly misheard what someone said, and I thought they said a Brazilian blow dry.
Mm.
In actual fact, they wanted the other type of Brazilian, which so it ended up with some poor hairstylist going around to someone's house who was expecting a different type of treatment. So yeah,
Oh
this
God.
Secret Spa does, over 100,000 bookings a year, and
Mm.
the amount of I can't, the amount of stories almost each week, just is a lot of things happening, but
Yeah.
it's fantastic. I can't
I love that. It's fantastic. It really is. Oh God, that is funny. I just think it's funny to lighten people's moods, isn't it? And if you can do it, like anyone can do it, right? So, you know,
if
um,
you can do it, if you, the guy who can't book in a basic appointment, whether it's with an investor or with a
this is
customer, can
it.
do it. Yeah.
We're just human beings, right? We do these things. Um, but yeah, no,
It's
it's
an
been
advert
such
for a
a
booking system. It's an advert for it's why you need an online booking system so you don't
This
make
is why
mistakes
you
like
need,
me.
yeah, professionalism in your business, guys. This is what you need. You need systems. Ryder, just quickly as well before we wrap up, I'm going to be putting into the description below the code that I've got for everybody listening to download Solo. Can you just explain to the listeners what it is that they get when they use my code?
Yeah, so my understanding is your code is going to get them, I think, their first 2 months for free.
Hmm.
And really, it's a chance to do as much as you like in the system, get used to it, take a few bookings. We offer free migration, so free data transfer from any other tools you might have. We got a team who can help you design your website as well. All of this is kind of included in this free trial on your
Hmm.
code. Use as much as you need really to get confident. And I think 2 months is obviously a good amount of time to
Yeah,
experiment with it. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that. I mean, yeah, just use our team as much as possible. I think it's March at the moment, so yeah, we got lots of people to help out.
perfect.
If you come from Advanced Code, so yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so much
Not
fun.
at all. Enjoyed it. Yeah,
Loved
enjoyed it.
it. Thank you to
Somewhat
everybody.
embarrassed after it.
I've embarrassed you. Great. That's good.
Yeah, I'm a bit red in the face after sharing some of those.
Oh, it's so much fun. Thank you so much. It really has been really great for everybody listening. I'm sure that you've taken a lot from that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to the private community. We're going to answer some bonus questions. I'm probably going to embarrass you a little bit more. And if you're not in the private community, get yourself over there and listen into the bonus questions with Ryder. You're going to love it. But for now, everyone, I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.